everyone. You've all been doing such a great job with the completing the square to convert from standard to vertex form of a parabola. So keep up the good work. We're going to do it one more day today, converting over from standard to vertex form. But there's one more little thing that I'm going to go over with you today. Sometimes it comes up. Okay, so we are in 9-7 in our notes. And we know that what standard form looks like when it's all multiplied out, and we know what vertex form looks like. Okay. So number one, it's not written in, so we'll fill it in right now. It says, given the function, and then you need to fill this in. So y equals negative x squared plus 8x plus 9. State whether the vertex represents a maximum or a minimum point for the function. Explain your answer. Okay, so why don't we go to our calculators and take a look at this function. So if you go to the graph and you look at it, I know my calculator looks a little different than yours, but you can see that it is a parabola, but it's upside down, where it opens downward. So the vertex, which is up there at the top, would be a maximum. It would be the highest point. So we can say that it is a maximum. And you have two choices for your answer, and I'll write them both. You can either say it's a maximum because the parabola opens down, or you could say it's a maximum because there is a negative in front of the x squared. So whenever you have a negative, whether it's just a negative or a -2 or -3 or -5, that means that your parabola is going to open down and that it is a maximum. Okay, now it's asking us to rewrite it in vertex form. So we have y equals negative x squared plus 8x plus 9. Okay, there's one more thing that I need to talk about with you when we're converting from standard to vertex form. So we need to take a look if there's anything in front of the x squared, whether it's a number, a negative number. If there's anything other than a 1, we need to kind of get rid of that for a minute. So this is like a -1. So I want to divide everything by a -1, including the y. I know that's a little weird. I know it looks a little weird. We're dividing the y by a -1, but let's do that. So now we have y divided by -1. Leave that like that. Equals, well, now negative x squared divided by -1 is x squared. 8x divided by -1 is minus 8x, and plus 9 divided by -1 is -9. Okay, now besides that, y being divided by a -1, this looks like a normal standard form will convert to vertex form. So the first thing we're going to do is add the 9 to the other side. Leave the y over the -1. Plus 9. We'll add our line because we're going to add something. Okay, and then let's figure out what we're going to add. Well, we're going to take half of -8, which is -4, and we are going to square that. So that means I'm going to add 16 to both sides. Okay, leave the y over -1 for a minute, and let's just combine. I'm going to go to the side, I'm sorry. 9 plus 16 is 25. And then on the right, we need to factor x squared minus 8x plus 16. It's going to factor to be x minus 4, x minus 4. So we know that we can rewrite that as x minus 4 squared. Now, just like we've been doing, let's bring the 25 over. Okay, we are almost done. This is where that one extra step's going to come in. We haven't done this yet. Instead of just having y equals, we'd be all done, we have y divided by -1 equals. So what I need you to do is whatever it's being divided by there, I need you to take the entire thing and multiply it by that. So since it's being divided by a -1, we're going to take the entire equation and multiply it through by a -1. What that means is those will cancel out. So I'm just left with y. And then everything needs to be multiplied by a -1. So that means I'm going to have a -1 in front of the parenthesis, x minus 4 squared. And then -25 times a -1 is a positive 25. And that is this parabola written in vertex form. If you want to check if your answer is right, let's go to our calculator. We already have the first one typed in. Let's now type in the written in vertex form. When we graph them, one should graph right on top of the other, and it does. Or when we look at the tables should all be the same. And they are, so we know that we did it right. So if we go back, the vertex of this one is 425. Okay, let's do another one like that. So let's just go to the next page. Okay, again, you have to fill this in. So let's fill in y equals -2x squared minus 8x minus 2. All right, it says state whether the vertex represents a maximum or a minimum point for the function. So if you want to take a second to look at it in your calculator and decide, pause and then come back. Okay, so when you looked at it in your video, you saw that the parabola looked like this. Whenever there's a negative in front of the x squared, whether it's a -1, a -2, a -8, a negative anything, it means the parabola is upside down. It looks like a frown, or it opens downward would be the mathematical way to say it. So it is going to be a maximum. Here's your vertex. It's at the top. It's going to be a maximum. Maximum because the parabola opens down. Okay. Now we want to rewrite it in vertex form. So this is where we are going to complete the square. So I have y equals -2x squared minus 8x minus 2. Okay. First thing we need to do is see if there is a number in front of the x squared. There is. It's a -2. So I need to divide everything by a -2. I need to get rid of that. Okay, I'm going to leave the y divided by a -2. -2x squared divided by -2 is just x squared. -8x divided by a -2, well, -8 divided by -2, you can use your calculator. It's a +4, so it's going to be +4x. -2 divided by -2, again, use your calculator. It's a 1. And then I can continue on like normal, like we've been doing. I'm going to bring the 1 to the other side. And then I need to figure out what I'm going to add to both sides. Well, we're going to take half of this 4, which is 2, and we are going to square that. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Okay. So now on the left, I know it's a little weird. We'll leave the y divided by -2. Let's combine -1 plus 4. So that's +3. And then on the right, we need to factor x squared plus 4x plus 4. What multiplies to 4 and adds to 4? That is x plus 2, x plus 2. Or we can write that as x plus 2 squared. Okay, we're almost there. Let's minus 3 from both sides to bring that over. So I have y over negative 2 equals x plus 2 squared minus 3. Now this is where we would normally have ended last time, but we have a little bit of a problem because we have this divided by negative 2. So what we are going to do is we're going to multiply everything through by a negative 2. That's going to get rid of that negative 2. So then we are left with just y equals, well, the negative 2 needs to go here and here. Let me highlight that for you. The negative 2 needs to be multiplied there and there. So we just put the negative 2 in front of the parenthesis, and then negative 2 times negative 3 is a positive 6. So in vertex form, it is y equals negative 2, parenthesis x plus 2 squared plus 6. In standard form, it is y equals negative 2x squared minus 8x minus 2. And let's just do a quick check again. Let's go to our calculator. Let's go to our y equals, and let's type both of these in. Let's type in the standard form, which is negative 2x squared minus 8x minus 2. This is just a check. And then let's type in the vertex form, negative 2, parenthesis x plus 2 squared plus 6. When we go to graph, they should be the same. If you see two parabolas, that means they're not the same, so something went wrong somewhere. But these look good. We can even look at the table. The table should be the same, which they are. All right, I'm going to do one more with you and then leave you to do a couple on your own. So we're just going to do a couple of these. We're going to rewrite them into vertex form using completing the square. This is what we've been working on. The only thing is there's going to be some sort of little difference because there's a number in front of the x squared. So I'm going to do a with you. So we need to look what's in front of the x squared. Well, there's a 3. So I'm going to divide everything by 3. The y divided by 3 is going to stay as y divided by 3 for now. 3x squared divided by 3 is x squared. 6x divided by 3 is 2x. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. Okay. Now, the next step in completing the square is we move that constant term over, the 4. So just leave the y over 3, y divided by 3 as y divided by 3. We moved the 4. I'm going to add a line. And now we need to figure out what we're adding to both sides. I'm going to take half of 2, which is 1, and I'm going to square that, which is 1. So I am adding 1 to both sides. Y over 3 is still y over 3. Negative 4 plus 1 is minus 3. And then on the right, I need to factor x squared plus 2x plus 1. That is x plus 1 times x plus 1, or x plus 1 squared. Okay. Now I'm going to move this 3 over. So I get y divided by 3 equals x plus 1 squared plus 3. We're almost done. This is where we normally stopped. However, it's being divided by 3. So I need to take everything and multiply it through by 3. Whatever you're being divided by, the y, is what you multiply through by. So that means I need to multiply it here and here. I'm also multiplying it here, but these cancel out. So I'm just left with y. And then on the right, I'm left with 3 parentheses x plus 1 squared plus 9. And that is vertex form. What I would like you to do to submit is I'd like you to do B. And I would like you to do C. Don't forget to divide by whatever's in front of the x squared. So in B, just kind of give you this little bit to start. You need to divide everything by -3 and go from there. Okay, everyone, keep up the good work.